I don't think I've ever seen anti-foreigner sentiment as bad as it is right now in Thailand. And equally, I haven't seen anti-Thai sentiment as bad as it is from foreigners. Maybe some of the long-timers, the really long-timers, may disagree. Maybe they've seen it worse. But in the 16 years that I've been here, I've never seen it as bad as this. Obviously, I don't mean here in the village, in the rural areas. You are quite insulated. However, people do still have access to the news. They still see clips online of foreigners doing crazy stuff, and they still get this idea that maybe foreigners are trying to take over the country, which seems to be a predominant theme and feeling for many Thais at the moment. I think the number one grievance from the Thai side is this idea of nominee companies. Using these nominee structures to circumvent land ownership laws. Of course, only Thais can own land here, and people have tried to get around it. One thing I will say about this is that a lot of the agents, the real estate agents, the people that are involved in setting up these structures advised a lot of foreigners that this was the way to do it, and it seems that many of the foreigners that thought they were doing it the right way are now getting caught up in that net. Now, saying that, of course, Thais are absolutely justified to do this. The law is set up so that people don't take over locations. Equally, on the islands and certain other locations in Thailand, Thais are complaining that there are pockets of certain nationalities. In particular, they complain about Israelis setting up businesses and then only doing business with each other and cutting out the local Thai economy. According to Khawsud English on Koh Phangan, 3,213 out of 4,761 registered companies involved foreign investment. That is about 67% of companies on the island. And when they broke it down by nationality, Israelis were the largest group linked to foreign invested companies. Around 720 companies, or about 22% of the foreign invested total. Then you had the French, British, Russian, German, and American behind that. With the Russians, Phuket have become the obvious example. AP reported that Thai police broke up a network in Phuket that was allegedly helping mostly Russians stay long-term through shell companies and nominee structures. 98 foreigners were accused in total, including 68 Russians, along with 37 Thais. The same report said that 1,600 companies were registered under Russian names in Phuket from 2023 to early 2024. So for Phuket, the argument was not just about tourists. It was about Russians arriving in large numbers, setting up businesses, buying property, and creating a kind of Russian language economy inside parts of Phuket. Now with Indians, Pattaya is the obvious example. India has become one of Thailand's biggest tourist markets. Nation Thailand reported that Indian arrivals hit 2.1 million in 2024 and 2.49 million in 2025, generating around 87.7 billion baht in revenue. By early February 2026, another 256,000 Indian tourists had already entered Thailand, making India Thailand's fourth largest source market at that point. And you only have to take a little walk down Walking Street to see all of the Indian mega clubs that have been erected there on the Walking Street. There is definitely a very large Indian presence in Pattaya. But this visa situation is now changing. In 2024, Thailand had expanded visa-free entry for 60 days for 93 countries, including India. Reuters reported that Thailand is now reducing visa-free stays from 60 days back to 30 days, with officials linking the move to criminal activity and misuse of the system. This is obviously a market that has grown very quickly and has become quite unpopular with Thais and expats, simply because of the cultural clash and some of the mess left on the beach. There's been a generalization from those that are actually breaking the law to just all foreigners, and that changes the mood of the place, and it also changes the minds of different expats to whether they want to stay or they want to leave Thailand. What I hear from many subscribers is that they came here, they married here, they built a house here, they put their kids through an international school here, they paid taxes here, some of them started businesses here, they paid into the economy, they learned the language, they integrated quite well, and yet now they feel blamed for the behavior and actions of other foreigners, other groups of foreigners, and that can lead to feelings of feeling unwelcome. Personally, I don't spend much time in the village or with other people, but I haven't felt any animosity here. There's been no change in the sentiment from the people that I know. But remember, in this village, the majority of people are my wife's family, and they're friends that we've had for many, many years. So just before we continue, I would like to mention our partners on today's video. It's TapTapSend. If you're based in the UK, the USA, Canada, Australia, or Europe, and you need to send money into Thailand, you can now get a nice juicy bonus using my code. Tap-Tap-Send allows you to transfer money directly into a Thai bank account. There are no transfer fees on supported routes. Exchange rates are competitive, and in most cases the money can arrive within minutes depending on the country, bank and verification checks. So whether you're sending money into Thailand to save, to support a spouse, or just to pay for something locally, it's definitely an option worth checking out. If you would like to try it out today, you can simply download Tap-Tap-Send from outside of Thailand using the App Store or Google Play, and you can use my code word 20rural to get yourself a bonus on your first transfer. Now, another thing that seems to upset many Thais is a lot of the organized crime, a lot of drug stories, a lot of bad behavior, more violence stories from the foreign side. We do know that many areas were mafia controlled, and so there has been violence here in Thailand. It's not like Thailand has been purely peaceful, and of course there's bad behavior from Thais as well. There are additional grievances from the foreigner side. Many people feel like the bureaucracy is too much here. It's ever changing, it's selective, it's not permanent. This is another aspect of the nominee company, that things have been accepted and done in a certain way for a long time, and then all of a sudden it's flipped on its head. Changes in visas going from a 60-day to a 30-day, from a 30-day to a 60-day, although I think for a lot of long timers that really shouldn't have much impact if you're doing the correct visa. I think Thailand's going to have some pain from this economically. I think it might change back quite fast if the pain gets too much, but I understand what they're trying to do to protect their country. There is also the tax uncertainty. What income that is being remitted to Thailand is taxable, what's not? Do I need to pay for expensive accountants and lawyers just in order to come and live here? It's confusing. To be honest, a lot of the content that I've seen online that has covered it is quite confusing as well. Where does all this leave us though? I think it leaves us in like a deadlock. I think for foreigners, often we feel a bit lumped in with the criminals and the idiots. We want Thai people to know that we're not all criminals and idiots. You know, we're foreigners that want to live in Thailand and adapt to the culture, and we respect the culture and we love the culture. That's why we live here. We don't want to change it into another culture. Why bother coming here if you're going to change Thailand into another culture? But on the other side, I think that Thais can still be welcoming to foreigners. They can understand that what foreigners bring to the economy, and that sometimes things can be quite convoluted to stay in Thailand even if you are following the rules. So also for Thais to understand that a lot of these things don't act in a vacuum, and that wherever you go in the world there are pockets of criminality, and not all problems of course are because foreigners are here. Ultimately, not that my opinion matters at all, but I support the actions of the Thai government in protecting their land and getting rid of people that are not following the law here. It costs me a lot of money to stay within the law here. I have a work permit that says YouTuber on it. I pay my taxes. I've had a number of businesses here, a number of staff, and so I don't think that people should be able to circumvent that. It also is a long path to citizenship for me. I'm 3 years into that path. I think you should go through the proper process. Could that process be more clear sometimes? Could it be more black and white? Could it be better informed, especially from other Thai professionals? Yes, I think it could. I think it could be a lot clearer. But until it is, I would say the vast majority of foreigners are trying to act within the law, and those that have had enough are and will leave.